In the kingdom of Paluma, demi-humans were seen as inferior to humans. Banaza, puzzled by this prejudice, invited a demi-human worker to dinner and offered money, much to the surprise of those around. Though hesitant at first, the demi-human gratefully accepted. Banaza frowned at the unfair treatment of demi-humans. Suddenly, a radiant light surrounded Banaza, transporting him to the Magical Kingdom of Klyrode. Confused and disoriented, he was welcomed as the 198th hero candidate. The people of Klyrode explained that heroes from other worlds were summoned to help in their battle against the Dark Army, a tradition dating back centuries. Despite Banaza's protests that he was just a humble merchant, they assured him of their need for his help. A woman with an animal-shaped head approached Banaza, holding a tool with a crystal ball. She instructed him to place his hands around it to receive blessings and powers that ordinary humans couldn't attain. Though hesitant, Banaza complied, feeling the surge of newfound abilities. However, when his stats were revealed, everyone seemed disappointed. Banaza reminded them that he was not a warrior, but a merchant. Amidst the disappointment, a woman nearby screamed in awe at the strength of another candidate, capturing everyone's attention. The king arrived and praised the candidate as the new blonde knight and hero. Banaza, frustrated by being overlooked and longing to return home, was escorted away by guards. He recalled a warning from the king's servant that the summoning gate had closed, trapping him in this unfamiliar world. They offered him a residence in the Delavisa forest, under the condition that he never reveal what had happened to anyone. During the carriage ride to the Delavisa forest, Banaza struck up a conversation with the demi-human driver, curious about their status. To Banaza's surprise, the demi-human burst into laughter and explained that in Klyrode, demi-humans and humans were treated equally. This revelation offered Banaza a glimmer of hope amidst his confusion about this new world. Upon arrival at Delavisa Forest, the demi-human handed Banaza money from the king and warned him about the danger posed by the nearby Dark Army, notorious for lurking in the area. As Banaza examined the bag of money, a list of its contents appeared magically. Among the items was a sword, which he withdrew cautiously. Exploring the forest, Banaza encountered a pair of seemingly harmless pink slimes. Misjudging them as harmless creatures, he was caught off guard when they attacked. In defense, he wielded the sword, managing to fight them off but damaging the blade in the process. To his surprise, a notification informed him that his level had increased, accompanied by a mysterious symbol he could not decipher. Intrigued, Banaza activated a voice guide feature on his newfound bag, revealing that it had been enchanted with a spell, causing the slime's aggression. The guide helped Banaza remove the curse, restoring the bag's normal function. As he continued to explore the forest, he received notifications of his level increasing with each encounter, gradually unlocking new abilities and powers. Meanwhile, back at the royal palace, the princess expressed her concern over Banaza to the king, criticizing the decision to trap him in their world. Before they could discuss further, a guard interrupted with urgent news. The most powerful purification magic had been detected. Assuming it was the blonde knight's doing, the king was corrected by his servant, who revealed it originated from the north, shapeshifted into a knight, and teleported to the royal capital. Banaza, seeking to establish himself in this unfamiliar world, ventured into a nearby market in search of the Merchants Guild. However, he was redirected to the Adventurers Guild in Klyrode Castle Town, where he learned about the hierarchy of adventurers based on their achievements and ranks. Registering himself under the pseudonym Fleo, Banaza received a necklace that held his registration information. He noticed when a young girl demanded teleportation to Delavisa Forest, her request was met with reluctance from others due to the threat of the Dark Army stationed in the forest. Banaza offered to teleport her himself, causing gasps of astonishment from those around him. He was approached by Balirosa, a royal knight, and her group. Initially suspicious of Banaza, they interrogated him about his intentions. To prove himself, Banaza showcased his newfound powers by teleporting them to Delavisa Forest. Impressed by Banaza's capabilities, Balirosa and her group apologized for their initial distrust. Their peaceful moment was interrupted when a small girl, suspected of being related to the Dark Army, transformed into a lupine creature and attacked. Banaza used his teleportation ability to save the knights from harm, preparing to confront the lupine creature. They fought fiercely, Banaza using all his spells to defeat the monster. Surprisingly, it surrendered, but asked to be killed, which confused the protagonist. He explained that he does not care if someone is human or demon. When the demon turned back into a girl, Banaza realized she was naked. Banaza blushed and turned away respectfully and covered her. Exhausted from using her powers, she fell asleep. Later, by the fire, Banaza studied his magic options. When Fenris woke up, he asked if she was okay. She wondered if he used healing magic on her. She promised not to fight humans anymore and declared Banaza her master, wanting to repay him. He did not want to own her, but agreed when she threatened to harm herself if he didn't. As they sat by the fire, Banaza shared his story. Fenris did not mind the challenges ahead and vowed loyalty. Meanwhile, in the castle, the king scolded the blonde knight for the chaos caused by a magic beast. The knight blamed the hero who had fled, leaving them to fight for themselves. Angered, the hero left with his servant, Tsuya. Banaza and Fenris walked through the market. Banaza needed money and a place to stay. People mistook them for a married couple, so Banaza suggested they pretend just to avoid suspicion. Yeah, sure, buddy, that's why you're doing it. Fenris happily agreed. At the Adventurers Guild, she registered as Reese. They took on an urgent quest to stop psycho bears heading towards the city. Teleporting north, they found a vacant house to use. They fought together against psycho bears who were attacking knights. Banaza used lightning bolt spells while Fenris fought bravely. Grateful knights thanked Banaza for saving them, and he introduced Fenris as his companion, which upset her for not being introduced as his wife. I told you it was more. During the battle, a psycho bear approached Fenris. She stared at it with piercing red eyes, making it submit. She suggested adopting it as a pet, surprising everyone. Banaza agreed and made a collar to tame it. Back at the house, Belarosa and her team introduced themselves as knights and fighters. They wanted Banaza's help in combat training after the hero failed. Initially unsure because he claimed to be married to Reese and wanted to live a quiet life with his wife, Banaza eventually agreed to train them, making them happy. They asked to stay with him for a while, and Reese agreed. Meanwhile, a demon named Ulimenos reported to her master about an individual casting purification spells alone. The master demanded for that person to be captured at any cost. Reese watched Banaza as he slept. When he awoke, he was startled to see her. She explained they were now husband and wife and insisted he stay in their room to avoid raising questions among the knights. He agreed. Belarosa walked in on them in an awkward moment, but quickly excused herself and left. During training, the knights fled in fear from a creature. Later, Banaza offered them a room to sleep during their stay, which made them happy and grateful. Reese called them for dinner and presented raw meat, which Banaza suggested they cook and grill. Banaza and Belarosa prepared lunch, and Banaza praised Belarosa's cooking, upsetting Reese. Reese tried the salad Banaza made and was surprised by its good taste. At the Adventurers Guild, a creature named Leolith informed Banaza of his fame and offered him a position as an honorary knight, which Banaza declined. When the meeting ended, Banaza walked out to find his wife covered in dirt. Concerned, he asked if she had been attacked by magical beasts, but she said no and remembered how difficult cooking had been. Reese had taken cooking lessons to impress her husband, but ended up making a mess. Meanwhile, the hero's servant Tsuya advised him to use a strong warrior to fight the Dark Army. A month later, Banaza declined the honorary knight offer again. Banaza and Fenris attended the knight's training, where Banaza gave Belano a ring to enhance her powers. But Fenris warned her not to wear it on her ring finger. Belarosa called for Banaza's help with a monster, which Fenris defeated. Fenris confronted Belarosa for pretending to be weak, which Belarosa denied. Later, Reese cooked dinner impressively, admitting she had taken classes. As they ate, a lupine watched them, identifying Reese as Fenris. Fenris confronted Ulimenos, who had been watching them. Uliminas was puzzled by Banaza's calm demeanor and mentioned the lack of magic beasts, which Banaza explained might be due to a purification spell he cast. This angered Uliminas, who lashed out at Fenris for being with Banaza, who had killed her brother. Fenris explained that her brother wouldn't want his death pitied. The knights overheard this, and Uliminas invited Banaza to spar to test his strength. Banaza dispelled her spells and fought until she surrendered. The couple apologized to the knights for not revealing the truth about Fenris's identity and explained that she no longer linked to the Dark Army. The knights pledged their loyalty, and Rhys and Banaza thanked them. Uliminas returned with an elite Dark Army group, demanding Banaza became the Dark One's subordinate. Instead, Banaza used his magic to destroy all the dragons and helped Blossom defeat a dragon, making her earn the title Dragon Slayer, leaving everyone amazed. Belarosa went to hunt magic beasts, and the knights admired her dedication to training every day. However, she was crying because she longed to earn a Dragon Slayer title to restore her noble status and live in the castle with her family, as she did when her father was a knight. Her thoughts were interrupted by a stranger who declared he was there to see an acquaintance in the area. Belarosa asked if he was there to see Banaza or his wife. The stranger replied that he was there to see the wife. Belarosa drew her sword and pointed it at the stranger, demanding to know what he wanted from Fenris, stating that she had already cut ties with the Dark Army. The stranger assured her he only wanted to see Fenris and had no intention of causing harm. He then asked Belarosa to deliver a message to Fenris, saying he wanted to talk with her about old times. The man introduced himself as Gozal and then left. When Banaza and Fenris approached her, they learned that Belarosa had been speaking with the Dark One, which made her scared. The next day, the Dark One came to visit Fenris, and the couple invited him into their house. Fenris asked what he wanted, and the Dark One invited Banaza to join the Dark Army. Banaza declined, and his wife defended him, explaining that her husband did not want to fight and was not taking anybody's side. Banaza explained that he did not even understand why humans and demons were fighting. The Dark One explained that the war had been going on for 500 years, starting with the first Dark One who came from another world to conquer this one. He explained that the demons who accepted the first Dark One was oppressed by humans, leading to the war between the demons and the humans who rejected him. Gozal stated that he would not give up. Belarosa passed out, and when she woke up, she was surprised to find Gozal in the kitchen eating breakfast with the couple. Fenris advised him to go home after eating because her husband's answer would not change. Belarosa kept running away whenever approached by the Dark One, who was impressed by her. The king, upon hearing the news about Banaza, was angered. His daughter advised him to talk to Banaza instead, but he silenced her. The hero and the guards went to Banaza's house and informed him that if he did not accept their invitation to join them, they would slay him. Banaza declined again, stating that he and Rhys were willing to go somewhere far away. The night ladies asked if they could join them. Banaza used his teleportation power to teleport the girls and the entire house, leaving everyone puzzled. When the Dark One came to see Banaza and found the guards and the hero there, and saw that the house no longer existed, he became furious and announced that the Dark Army would attack the Kingdom of Klyrode. A guard reported to the king that the Dark Army was destroying their defense outposts. The king demanded to know what the hero was doing and was informed that the hero was hiding. The king was advised to summon all the mages in the kingdom to cast a purification spell. Meanwhile, the Dark One informed Uliminas that they should retreat because purification was going to be used. At the castle, the mages were using the light of purification to cleanse and protect their land. Upon returning home, Banaza was greeted by his wife, who had been waiting for him. She offered to make him food, and once it was ready, they sat at the table with the knights discussing whether he had found a job. Banaza responded that he was still looking. Blossom suggested starting to sell vegetables from their field, while Bileri proposed breeding horses to rent out to help with the household. Bilano and Belarosa were upset that there was nothing they could do to help. But Fenris reassured them that taking care of them was not hard. Banaza told them not to worry and to focus on their swordsmanship and magic. Back at the castle, the princess was sad because the purification spell had left many mages, including her father, unconscious. She decided to take charge until her father awakened and demanded that the hero be removed from his position as punishment. In the bedroom, Banaza called out Reese's name to see if she was still awake. He admitted that he knew she had been trying her best since they moved to the new area. She told him that she would do anything for him, and he expressed his gratitude for her. The girl advised the couple to go out and have fun. Fenris and Banaza spent time together. Then they went to the market. He offered to buy her anything she wanted. He picked a brooch and expressed that she looks pretty and that it would look good on her. She kept holding his hand as he slept. The blonde knight encountered Hia, which is a djinn who commands primordial light and darkness. She granted him 3 wishes. The Princess of Klyrode met with the Oracle Ursula to know what the next move should be. Knowing that the purification spell only lasts for 3 months, suddenly a collar appeared on each person's neck in the castle, and the princess demanded the guards to head to the underground treasury and find the invaders. The Oracle Ursula explained that the collar is used by jinn to behead offered victims. This news scared everyone. The Oracle Ursula informed the princess that she needed to find the real hero. Banaza was able to find a job, which made his wife happy, yet upset that they will not get to spend time together. As they were walking together, Banaza received a notification that a jinn was approaching him. Hia introduced herself. The second wish of the blonde knight was to kill Banaza. When she tried to attack him, Reese jumped in front of him and got attacked instead. Banaza tried to use his healing spell to revive her, but it did not work. Banaza attacked the jinn, who tried to use spells against him, but he kept dispelling them. He relentlessly continued his assault. Meanwhile, Reese's wounds healed and she awoke to find Balarosa by her side. She watched as Banaza fought the jinn fiercely and without mercy. When he began choking the jinn, Reese intervened, urging him not to lose his kindness because of her. She began to cry and he wiped her tears and hugged her tightly. The princess and her people reached their destination, and as they arrived, their collars broke and faded, indicating that the jinn could not fulfill the wish. When the jinn woke up, Reese suggested adding her to their group and keeping her nearby to have her work as a servant for Banaza. Banaza made a deal with the jinn that she would not take any more lives, which surprised her because humans are usually selfish and greedy. Well, that's the same as in our universe, isn't it, people? She shook his hand in agreement, pledging her powers and her body under his care. Banaza apologized for getting carried away during their fight. Reese felt jealous. Hia went home with them and introduced herself to the girls, who were initially scared, but Balarosa reassured them that it would be okay. Banaza entered the bedroom and found his wife sitting on the bed. He asked if she was okay, and she pulled his arm, then got on top of him, asking if he intended to go back to his world now that he possessed Din magic and could summon the same spell that brought him into this world. She hugged him and cried, begging him to take her with him. He reassured her that he would not leave because that place was not suitable for her. He confessed that he was scared when he thought he lost her, and asked if she would like to marry him for real. She expressed her feelings for him and they kissed. Their moment was interrupted by a noise. As they turned, they found Hia standing there, who explained that her duty required her to know his whereabouts at all times. Not now, Hia. Come on, girl. Banaza ordered her to stop doing that. Yeah, fair enough. Hia explained that mating was a natural thing and that next time she would make herself invisible to avoid disturbing them, which made them scream at her. Banaza and Fenris were at the market selling armor when Banaza expressed his happiness to be with her. Suddenly, the sky turned gray and a monstrous figure descended from above. Sensing danger, Hia rushed to the couple. She explained that the monster was once human, transformed by the witch Grand Magus of Midnight, Damalinas the Apricot, using forbidden black magic. Damalinas, who once ruled the kingdom of Klyrode, was considered the strongest mage but was eventually defeated by the hero of that time. Hia then asked Banaza for permission to confront the witch herself, and he agreed. As Damilinus prepared to attack the princess, her efforts were thwarted by Hia's protection. The witch's black magic had no effect on Hia. The monster continued to grow, but Banaza dispelled the spell, restoring everything to normal. Hia destroyed Damilinus. Princess Elizabeth Klyrode approached Banaza, introducing herself and thanking him for saving her kingdom. She apologized on behalf of the king and offered Banaza the position of the new hero. However, Banaza declined, explaining that the role should go to someone who would not hesitate to fight for humans, a commitment he felt he could not make. When Banaza and Fenris returned home, they were greeted by the girls. Bileri suggested expanding the land to raise magic beasts, while Blossom proposed enlarging the fields to grow more vegetables. They explained that the harvested vegetables would be transported by the magic beast carrier. Banaza agreed to their plans. Later, Banaza shared with his wife his desire to open his own store in this world. Fenris was delighted and mentioned she would invite her acquaintances to visit the store. Banaza then pulled out a ring from his pocket, revealing that he had made wedding rings for both of them. Fenris hugged him tightly, overjoyed. Balarosa and Fenris were in the kitchen baking when Balarosa confided that she had been having nightmares. Fenris explained that nightmares could be a sign that she was in love. Hearing the word love, all the girls started teasing Balarosa, wondering who she might be in love with and teasing her about the Dark One's interest in her, which made her nervous and blush. To lighten the mood, Fenris shared the story of her love with her husband. Their conversation was interrupted by Banaza, who informed them that he had placed a protective barrier around their town, and it was now reacting to something. The princess discovered that Sir Fleo and Banaza were the same person when he gave her Klyrode gold coins, which were issued only by the castle and not distributed to the public. A guard informed the princess that the former hero and his servant had escaped and fled from the castle. Meanwhile, the Dark One explained to Ulimanas that he did not believe in winning through sacrificing people. A servant overheard their conversation and reported the news to the Dark One's brother, Lord Uigard. Puzzled by Gozal's attempt to recruit a human into the Dark Army, Lord Uigard decided to seize the throne from his brother and destroy Klyrode. Banaza invited his wife out for lunch, which made her smile. On their way, they noticed that the sign on Haldi's shop had been removed and learned that the shop was closing because the owner couldn't find new suppliers. When they arrived at the restaurant, Balarosa approached them and offered to pay for their meal, which upset Rhys. He then approached them, informing them that a demon was nearby. It turned out to be Gozal, who joined them at the restaurant. Gozal told Balarosa that he wanted to speak with her, making her nervous. Banaza learned that demons were a threat to humans due to the malicium they produced, which could pollute the area and harm people. As they walked, Banaza held Fenris tightly. The Princess of Klyrode visited Banaza and revealed that she knew the truth about his identity and acknowledged the mistreatment he had faced in the past. She requested a private conversation with him, but Rhys insisted on staying by her husband's side. Banaza supported his wife's decision, which made Rhys happy. The princess knelt and begged for forgiveness. Banaza told her that while he appreciated her apology, it didn't change anything for him, as he considered himself just a humble merchant. She then displayed a map showing the positions of the Klyrode army, each marked with an enchanted stone carried by a leader. She explained that the effect of the purification spell would soon wear off, allowing the Dark Army to continue their invasions. She asked for his help in protecting the towns. The princess warned that when the king awoke, he would send the army after them for conspiring with the demons. However, if Banaza helped, she would accuse the king of disgracing a true hero and appointing a false one, leading to his abdication. She planned to rule in his place. Meanwhile, the blonde knight and Tsuya were kidnapped by a servant of Lord Uigard. People at the northeast entrance began evacuating upon learning of the approaching Dark Army. When a little girl was about to be attacked by demons, Banaza and Rhys rescued her and blocked the demons from entering the town. Banaza warned the demons to leave or face his wrath. Cyclops, the most powerful tribe in the Dark Army, declared he would crush the barrier. Rhys left the barrier and attacked Cyclops using her powers. Banaza used his power to disable the demons and then freed them, reminding them that they would not be harmed if they chose to leave and never return. Frightened, the demons fled. The townspeople thanked Banaza and Rhys for rescuing the town and were surprised by the relationship between a lupine and a human. A guard reported to the princess that a mysterious adventurer had driven away the Dark Army from several regions. The princess was pleased to know that Banaza had fulfilled her request. Meanwhile, the Dark One was furious to learn that his brother had acted without permission and seized the throne room. Gozal and Uliminos visited Rhys and Banaza, asking if they could stay at their house for a while. Gozal explained that he had resigned from his position as the Dark One. Banaza mentioned that he would need to ask everyone in the house for their opinion first. When Balarosa walked into the living room and saw Gozal, she became nervous. Gozal reassured the girls that he was no longer the Dark One, and as such could not live in the demon territory. The girls did not object, though Balarosa was angered at first, but eventually she was pressured into agreeing. Over time, Gozal began to get along with Banaza and everyone else in the house, though Balarosa kept her distance. One night, as everyone slept peacefully, Balarosa found herself unable to sleep. Rhys and Banaza approached her, offering tea and snacks to cheer her up. Balarosa expressed to the couple that she felt out of place in the house and that she had nothing to offer compared to the other girls. She also admitted that she could not live under the same roof as Gozal. The couple advised her that she didn't need to get along with Gozal and Uliminos, but simply accept them for who they are. The next day, Balarosa confronted the new guests, informing them that she would keep an eye on them and would never forgive them if they hurt a human. Gozal approached her, attempting to shake her hand, but she refused, saying she would do so when she felt she could trust him. Rhys won a trip to the hot springs and was thrilled at the prospect of being alone with her husband. However, her excitement waned when she learned she had won a family voucher, allowing her to bring extra people along. Bilari explained the benefits of the hot spring, and when she mentioned fertility, Rhys began daydreaming about having a child with her husband. At the hot springs, Rhys, Gozal, and Uliminos noticed the presence of Dark Army officers. Rhys warned them to avoid any encounters with the Dark Army members and threatened that she would not forgive them if anything ruined the trip. Everyone shared a communal room except for Rhys and Banaza, who had their own private room. As everyone planned their activities, Rhys asked her husband if they could visit the Yanagi Spring of Fertility, to which he agreed. Meanwhile, Gozal complimented Balarosa, making her blush. The blonde knight arrived at the hot springs, carrying a gem he had stolen from the devil's territory. The gem began to spread melicium, affecting him. During a conversation with Uliminos, Balarosa asked if she was in love with Gozal, but their talk was interrupted by the sound of an explosion, causing everyone to scream. Banaza intervened to stop the attacks and asked his wife to help him figure out what was happening. The girls decided to join Banaza in the fight, and Gozal also offered his help. Gozal confronted his brother, ready for a challenge. Lord Urigard attacked Gozal with Melicium, but the former Dark One skillfully dodged each strike. Rhys used her teleportation power to punch the blonde knight, breaking the gem and causing the Melicium to vanish. Tsuya was fallen, but to her luck, Gozal used a spell to make sure she didn't get injured. During their battle, Gozal managed to temporarily block his brother's use of Melicium, making him lose his power. The owners of the hot springs used their powers to get rid of the troublesome demons and send them away. Balarosa informed Rhys that Banaza had asked everyone to leave the building so he could restore it. Together, they cleaned the area, and the owners thanked Banaza for his help. Everyone then soaked in the Yanagi Spring. Gozal expressed his interest in Banaza, suggesting that if they worked together, they could build a new relationship between demons and humans. They shook hands, agreeing to this new alliance. At dinner, everyone ate together and enjoyed each other's company. Balarosa approached Gozal to thank him for his help earlier. and he reassured her that he would not break his promise of making sure to not harm any human. Later, as they slept, Reese checked on everyone before returning to her bedroom. Sitting next to her husband, Banaza expressed his desire to continue protecting the towns and asked Reese to stay by his side and support him. She agreed, wanting to keep the world safe for their future offspring. They shared a passionate kiss. When the trip ended, using Banaza's power, they teleported back home. Everyone succeeded in managing their tasks. Blossom and Hia managed to create delicious vegetables using magic. Bileri used the magic horses to carry the vegetables, and Bilano started teaching magic at college. Everyone lived in harmony. The Princess Elizabeth became Queen of Klyrode and ordered the guards to search for her father, who had fled in fear of facing the consequences of his actions. Reese called everyone for dinner. Banaza and his wife smiled at each other. He approached her, and they started to plan their future together. And that's another awesome anime recap done for today. Now, if you've been on YouTube for longer than 10 seconds, you'll understand just how helpful it is for you to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. We'd love to have a chat with you in the comments. Let us know how we're going. Let us know if you want us to do anything differently. We're here for you. Okay, talk to you next time, guys. See ya.